The spotter's voice cracks over the radio. Big one, checked up, checked up. The wall is coming before it even registers. At 190 miles an hour, turning the wheel doesn't matter anymore. This is EchoPark Speedway. And no matter how good a driver is everywhere else on the NASCAR Cup Series schedule, this track has never cared about reputations. He's the best driver in NASCAR right now. So why does this one track keep humbling him? Denny Hamlin enters this weekend leading the 2026 NASCAR Cup Series standings. It is one of the strongest championship stretches of his career, a career that has produced 64 wins but 0 titles, a runner-up finish in 2010 and another in 2025, always close, never quite there. For a driver who has spent 2 decades chasing the one thing that has eluded him, a season like this carries weight beyond the points sheet. Hamlin drives the No. 11 Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing and co-owns 2311 Racing alongside Michael Jordan, and his win total already places him among the most accomplished active drivers in the sport. Before going further, if you're new here, this channel, NASCAR Racing World, is closing in on 500 subscribers, and every one of you watching right now is part of getting us there. If you want more breakdowns like this one, hit subscribe, drop a like, and leave a comment telling me what you think Hamlin's chances are this weekend. Your support is what allows us to keep building content like this. But if the assumption is that Sunday is just another race for the points leader, that assumption doesn't hold up against EchoPark Speedway's history with Denny Hamlin. There is one track on the 2026 schedule where his name does not sit at the top of the list the way it does almost everywhere else. Over 32 career Cup Series starts at EchoPark Speedway, Hamlin has recorded 1 win, 6 top 5 finishes, and 11 top 10 finishes. On paper, across nearly 2 decades, that record looks unremarkable but stable. Then the track changed. In 2022, NASCAR reconfigured EchoPark Speedway, narrowing the racing surface from 55 feet to 40 feet and steepening the banking, turning it into a drafting-style superspeedway alongside Daytona and Talladega. Since that reconfiguration, Hamlin has made 9 starts at the track. The finishes read like a rap sheet: 29th, 25th, 6th, 14th, 23rd, 24th, 6th, 31st, 13th. Only 2 of those 9 races produced a top 10 finish, both 6th-place runs, in the spring of 2023 and the spring of 2025. Outside those 2 results, Hamlin has finished no better than 13th since the reconfiguration. The 31st place finish, from last summer's race, stands out even among that list. Hamlin got tangled in a wreck that ended his day early, a result that had nothing to do with speed and everything to do with being in the wrong place when the field bunched up. Hamlin is widely regarded as one of the strongest drivers on intermediate tracks and short tracks in the current Cup Series field, with wins at venues like Martinsville, Bristol, and Darlington across his career. Pack racing at drafting-style superspeedways operates under a different set of rules. Speeding, drafting, and track position often decide outcomes more than raw pace does. Hamlin has been direct about what that style of racing does to a driver's control over the outcome. Speaking on his own podcast, Actions Detrimental, he said the current cars are so draggy that a driver can run 20 throttle and still keep up with the pack, a dynamic that narrows the gap between a strong car and a mediocre one. He described the resulting racing as reduced to fuel-saving contests rather than genuine competition for position. After a difficult run at Talladega, he said, "We're running all out versus guys that are running half throttle," pointing out that trailing cars can conserve fuel simply by using the draft. That frustration has surfaced repeatedly. Following the 2025 Daytona 500, where a last-lap wreck ended his bid for a 4th win at the track, Hamlin called the event AF crapshoot and argued that luck had overtaken skill in determining who wins these races. He has also pointed to his own results as evidence, citing finishes as poor as 28th, 33rd, 37th, and 38th during the next-gen era at Daytona, saying he often has to hang back and wait for the field to thin out, only to still get caught in wrecks he did not cause. This raises the central debate around Hamlin's record at drafting-style tracks. One argument holds that pack racing exposes a genuine gap in his approach, that a driver built for precision and long-run pace struggles when the outcome depends on positioning and timing rather than raw speed. The competing argument holds that this is simply the nature of superspeedway racing, where being in the wrong lane at the wrong moment costs even the most skilled drivers a finish, regardless of how the car is driven. Hamlin himself has leaned toward the second explanation, telling reporters after a similarly defensive run at EchoPark Speedway in 2024 that his goal was simply to bank around 20 points by finishing in the mid-teens, adding that his record on superspeedways has been atrocious. That is not to say Hamlin is without success in these conditions. His only win at EchoPark Speedway came in 2012, in the Advocare 500, before the reconfiguration changed the track's character. He also finished fourth in the spring race of 2021, the last event held before the current layout debuted. Both of his sixth-place finishes since 2022 demonstrate that survival through the chaos of pack racing is possible for him when circumstances break in his favor. He is not without results here, the record is inconsistent rather than hopeless, and Sunday's Quaker State 400 presents another opportunity to add to it one way or the other. Hamlin has also shown he can adapt his outlook depending on how a drafting race is structured. After the Coke Zero Sugar 400 at Daytona in August 2025, a race widely seen as more competitive than the February event, he explained that the first stage fell inside the fuel window, which allowed the entire field to race at full pace instead of conserving. That change, he said, bred more aggression and produced a better race overall. It shows that his frustration with superspeedway racing is not absolute, it depends heavily on how the format is set up for a given event. The stakes heading into Sunday are straightforward. Hamlin has been the benchmark of the Cup Series through the first half of 2026, sitting atop the standings with one of the strongest campaigns of his career. EchoPark Speedway remains one of the few tracks on the schedule where his recent results have not matched that level. A strong run on Sunday would mark a departure from 9 years of inconsistent finishes since the reconfiguration. A poor run would extend a pattern that has held since 2022, regardless of how well Hamlin has driven everywhere else this season. Denny Hamlin has conquered nearly every track NASCAR has thrown at him in 2026. EchoPark Speedway has never cared about points leaders, championships, or reputations. Sunday, under the lights of the Quaker State 400, that record either changes or it doesn't. If you found this breakdown useful, drop a comment with your prediction for Sunday, and share this video with another NASCAR fan who needs to see Hamlin's real record at this track. That's what gets us closer to 500 subscribers, and it's what keeps this channel going.